What if it rained food? What if Earth was a cube? What if we had 9 lives? What if bits could fly? It's absurd. If money grew on trees, if we didn't have knees, if we walked through life slightly magnetical, it's absurd. Absurd Hypotheticals.
Hello everybody and welcome to Absurd Hypotheticals, the show where we overthink dumb questions so you don't have to. I'm your host Marcus Lehner, and I'm joined here today by Chris Yee and Ben Storms. Say hi, guys.
Hey, I'm Chris.
Hey, I'm Ben.
So I told you guys before about my little bathroom mishap in my office, right? With like the bathroom stall door.
Remind me.
Yeah, so there's a stall in my office in the bathroom that doesn't close all the way. So like the latch doesn't go into like the little hole that's supposed to go into. And sometimes I forget about it and I accidentally go into that stall, and then when I'm doing my thing, it like swings open on its own.
Not ideal, yeah.
Not ideal. And I got stuck in that situation once. I told you guys about it. I forget what episode, but it was a while ago.
So can you not reach the door to close it?
You can, but you have to like lean forward a little bit. Like you can't do it just from your natural sitting position.
Okay.
But that's a completely different situation. I had a new problem just today in a different stall in the same bathroom, because I knew that one stall was a problem stall, so I avoided it. So I went to the end stall, and I was just doing my normal thing again. I was on my phone. My phone is on vibrate.
Oh, no.
And, well, no. I know what you're thinking I'm going to say, and no, I didn't drop my phone. But it did vibrate, and it, like, must have caught me off guard or something, and I must have, like, shifted my weight or something like that. And what happened was that the toilet seat broke while I was on it.
What?
I don't know my own strength.
I don't necessarily know if it's strength, but
Like what part of the seat broke?
so
Like
it's probably not the same part of the seat that
Like
you're
the
thinking of.
hinge?
It was a hinge.
Okay.
Because you probably imagined it like cracking down the middle or something.
Yeah, I'm like, how much did your phone scare you?
No, but yeah, the hinge broke, and then the whole seat shifted like to the left, and it like flipped over, and then I was sitting like on the non-seat part of the toilet.
Oh, Jesus.
And the toilet seat was on the ground. So, like, I didn't know what to do. How do you prepare for something like that?
You don't. You can't.
You don't. At least I didn't fall
You just have to say it as factually as possible and as in as few words as possible, and then quit your job and find a new job.
I think what you say is just the toilet seat is broken with no information about how it became as such.
So who would you go to in your office to tell them this toilet seat is broken?
I don't know. There's like a custodian. I didn't actually tell anyone.
That's the other option.
I put the seat back on. It's unhinged right now, but it looks normal if you don't know.
Wait, you left a trap for somebody? What kind of person are you?
I mean, I actually don't know who I would. There is a custodian, but they're not there all the time. I'm not gonna like tell my boss. My boss isn't gonna do anything about it.
I
Do
guess
you have like a you don't know like who does any like it's just a custodian? There must be someone in your office.
I mean, there probably is. I just don't know.
I think it's actually less dangerous now that it's broken. Like, hear me out. Clearly, it's worse than having a fully attached toilet seat. I'm not arguing that. But
I'm about to say, like, Ben, what's the typical danger of toilet seats?
But hear me out. The moment of breaking is the biggest risk in this whole process.
That's true.
That's
when there's the most tension.
Right, exactly. Like, clearly there is some force on the toilet seat at that point in time that can cause ramifications. But if you just sit down on a toilet seat that's not attached, like, you're not, like, wiggling around back there, like...
It's slippy dippy though. Like if you're a little off balance, like that, the moment that you actually sit, you're a little like you gotta be slightly off balance because you're not gonna like just do some fucking squats while you do it.
I mean, maybe you aren't.
It depends on like the shape of the bottom of the toilet seat too. If it's like
that is true.
If it fits well to the toilet, then it might not move around. But this one wasn't really that well fitted, obviously, because it shifted.
Right.
Yeah. Because I imagine I pull my pants down and I go and sit and I'm like slightly to the left, but I don't know yet because I haven't sat, so I can't feel my balance. and then it just slides to the left, and then it dips me off to the left side of the toilet, and I fall over.
Not great.
At least you didn't break your ankle doing it.
Yeah, I didn't break my ankle. That would have been embarrassing.
That would have been really embarrassing.
Guys, I broke my ankle. It's somehow stupider than the last time where I just tripped on my own feet.
And now there's 2 stalls that I can't use in that bathroom.
How many are left?
There's 3, and one of them's a handicap.
Okay, so there's 3 left. 2 have gone down in the last year? 6 months?
Yeah.
So 2 in 6 months. So by the end of the year, it's just going to be 1 stall left, which might be the handicap stall.
Probably.
And then what are you going to do? Are you going to complain to somebody then? Are you going to talk to your janitor and be like, hey, man, you got to fix the bathroom? He's like, it appears to be working. You're like, well, no, here's the thing. The first stall has this latch issue where it doesn't latch, and then I got to lean forward a bit. And the second stall has the toilet seat hinge broken, so it's kind of tricky. And I don't know what's going to happen to the third and the fourth stalls, but one can only imagine.
I like the idea that somehow in this 6-month span, no one realized the toilet seat was broken.
Well, it wasn't really. I guess it must have been sort of broken before, but I think I'm the one that broke it.
All right, but how bad does your bathroom situation have to be at your office where you take it upon yourself to talk to any of your coworkers about the bathroom?
How many toilets must fall before you raise your voice, Chris?
Yeah.
One more. I'll do one more.
First they came for the doors and I said nothing. Then they came for the seats and I said nothing. I don't have a follow-up and to continue the pattern, unfortunately. Maybe the handle. I really should have thought that through before I started it. But yeah, you get the idea. Anyway.
Yeah, that's great. That's enough bathroom talk for this episode. Which means we have to dive into our actual question, which is, which snack mascot would win in a fight? And I'm going to start this one off myself. And my snack mascot that I picked is Mr. Peanut, also known as Bartholomew Richard Fitzgerald Smith.
He has a name?
Fitzgerald Smith?
And it's Bartholomew Richard Fitzgerald Smith. Only the Smith is spelled Smythe, like the old-fashioned Smith.
So his last name isn't even Peanut?
No, it's Fitzgerald Smith, or Fitzgerald Smythe.
Is that hyphenated or all one word?
Hyphenated.
Okay, got it. That's important.
Yeah, so Mr. Peanut, established in 1916, so he's celebrating his 103rd birthday this year.
Peanuts have been around for a long time.
I guess that's true. So, fun fact before I go into the actual fighting things, Mr. Peanut said literally no words ever until 2010. Before he got his first voice actor.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he said literally nothing. He was just like an animated cartoon or just silently around and tipping his hat to people. Until 2010, where he got suddenly voiced by Robert Downey Jr.
What?
What?
I don't remember this at all.
Mr. Peanut is Iron Man?
He was for a small bit. And now it's currently Bill Hader from...
Wait, what?
What?
Yup. So these are the people voicing Mr. Peanut now. Mr. Peanut commercials are good now.
I don't think I've... what was the last Mr. Peanut commercial I've seen?
Now I want to watch one because I love Bill Hader.
It's very good. The commercial I really liked that I was watching, I think they started a campaign where they were like, nutrition starts with nut. And they're trying to be like, we have this healthy 3-nut blend or whatever. But now they're kind of on the other side of it, where he's like doing like these inspirational speeches where he was like, nuts are healthy because science. And science is true because it's made up of facts. And it's just like, that's their pitch. And they're just like ironically talking about how like facts make science make peanuts the best thing.
Interesting.
It's absolutely excellent. But, yeah, so that's just his voice. I mean, he has a voice, which I guess is a pro.
It's a power.
He can yell at people.
Is that the extent of his powers?
I didn't really expect much from Mr. Peanut, but I expect more.
He's Iron Man in a peanut costume. What more do you want? No, so what I have here, and this is not a long list. I'm going to preface this with that. Potential pros I got. 1, he has a peanut shell, so he may have defenses. He has a cane to hit things with.
And he doesn't need the cane because he has like a bad leg or anything. I think it's more that he's like rich.
Yeah, it's because he's rich and gentlemanly. He does have a vehicle. He has like a big van that's like a peanut. It's called the Nutmobile.
Of course it is.
So I'm not sure if we're using vehicles, but if we are, he has one.
Cool.
I don't know if we're using... Another thing I don't know if we're using... He has a sidekick, Benson, who is like a single nut peanut.
What?
So he's like a single nut version of himself. So he also has like, you know, the top hat and the cane and the white gloves and all that.
Interesting. Okay.
Basically his butler. And then he has a potential second sidekick, who is literally just called Peanut Butter Doug, which is Mr. Peanut, except he has a goatee and sunglasses instead of a monocle. He still has the top hat and gloves.
Oh, he's the cool version.
He's also like the stunt double. So basically, whenever they had like this little commercial thing where they're doing stunts, and then he would stunt double for Mr. Peanut and would get absolutely murdered by whatever it is, and that being murdered by the stunt turns him into peanut butter.
Okay, I was
that's
going to
smart.
ask
Yeah.
where the peanut butter came in.
Yeah. So like he would get hit by like a bus, and what would be left is a jar of peanut butter where Peanut Butter Doug's thumbs up would pop up out of.
Huh.
Like Terminator style?
Yeah, like Terminator style. Except it's like a regular jar of peanuts, so it's like he wouldn't fit in there if he got destroyed. It's not quite to scale. So that's basically all he's got. Literally just all his commercials, he just kind of walks around and talks and makes no actual effort to do anything or like fight any bad guys or anything. So it's very limited. But I'm going to talk about the peanut shell strength. So this required an excessive amount of Googling to find out any facts about peanuts except like nutrition facts. So peanuts generally are made up of cellulose and lignin, which is cool because it's the exact same two ingredients that make up wood. So that's why those shells are they kind of like that woody texture to them.
Mm-hmm.
So to get an idea of how strong they are strength-wise, you can basically, the cellulose to lignin ratio is how strong that wood is going to be. So an oak tree is a hardwood, which is 62 to 100 lignin to cellulose. So the higher this first number gets, the weaker it's going to be. So a California sequoia tree, which is described as a moderately hard softwood, which I think is the least descriptive thing. Because
So
it's just...
a wood.
Yeah, so it's a moderately hard, soft wood. That's 70 to 100. Peanuts are 79 to 100. So basically, there's hardwood to softwood, and then the same step again is where peanuts are at. So it's like a softy softwood. But if you scale up Mr. Peanut, he's got like a 4 to 5 inch thick shell of what is comparable to wood. So I think the shell is a bonus defense. Like, it is fairly tanky.
How tall did you say he was?
So it varies by commercial. So there are commercials where he is people-sized or taller, like a 6'4" type guy.
Yeah.
And then there's a big series of commercials where he is 3 inches tall. I have elected to use the 6 foot tall version of Mr. Peanut.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that's his defenses. On offense, he just, like I said, he basically just has his cane, but it's got like a brass like peanut on the top, so it can do some damage. It's like a real beaten stick. I tried to look up if he could do like a rolling attack, like if he was on top of a hill, he could like roll down because he's round. I was really
Kind of
stretching
round.
here. But it turns out his density is only like 641 kilograms per meter cubed. So 641 compared to a human or water, which is like 1,000. So he's pretty lightweight for his size. So he's not particularly heavy to do like a good old roll attack at somebody. The last thing I have written down, and I have this just like as a potential thing, because I couldn't find anything real about this, but there's an old poster from World War II, which is Mr. Peanut Goes to War. And there's just an image of him like that brown monochrome cartoon drawing, but he's got like the grim war face on, he's holding a bayonet rifle, and he's got like the army hat on and some, combat boots. So there's a chance Mr. Peanut has seen war. And has fought Nazis.
He could be a veteran. Okay.
So he might have some combat knowledge, but literally there was nothing about this except that it was a poster. So that is Mr. Peanut. Not, I admit, a super strong contender, but he does have experience and may have been in war, and he's got a bit hard peanut shell.
Would you say that was Mr. Peanut in a nutshell?
No, I wouldn't, Ben, because I'm not a fucking lunatic.
Well, Sorry, I'm nuts. Anyway, Chris, who did you have?
I did Chester Cheetah of Cheetos fame. So Chester Cheetah's thing is like he's the cool guy. He's like just cool all the time. And actually, in early advertising campaigns, he wasn't always cool. That was his thing. He was like cool in the beginning, but then like if he saw Cheetos, if he saw someone across the room holding Cheetos, then he would like do the classic like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs crazy thing, or he'd like go crazy for it and like lose his cool completely.
I'm Cha-Cha for Cheetos!
Yeah. So that was like his early phase, and that was actually like where he was most active. So he was like athletic in those. So like they showed him surfing. There's a weird commercial where, actually I think this was a commercial later on, but it was a Japanese commercial where he was riding a motorcycle, and depending on the type of Cheeto he eats, because there are different types of Cheetos, his motorcycle would like transform into a tool based on that shape. It was a little
like
weird.
A big tool? Like
there was like a shreddy, like a swirly, shreddy shaped Cheeto. I don't know how to describe it other than that.
You're definitely saying words. They have not yet coalesced into a mental image for me.
It's like
Like a corkscrew?
it's like a wheel, but it's like has shredded edges, sort of.
Like a saw blade, like a circular saw blade.
Yeah, like a saw blade.
Okay.
And when he ate that, the motorcycle wheel turned into a saw blade kind of, and he used it to like cut through a tree. I don't know if he's necessarily allowed to use that in a fight, but he might have that.
I think he could use it in a fight, but he can't have prepared Cheetos ahead of time. He can't have like, oh, I found this Cheeto that looks like an AK-47 ahead of time, and I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, it would only be the Cheetos that exist in real life.
He would have to grab a fresh bag of Cheetos and just fucking hope one of them looks like anything besides a doo-doo.
I actually didn't notice this until like I started looking up Cheeto bags, but apparently he's skateboarding on the bag.
This is true. Yeah.
Did you know that? I didn't know that.
I think I did.
Is it cropped out? Like, is it?
No, it's
can you
not
see the
cropped out.
skateboards?
He's clearly skateboarding if you look at it. I just never really looked at it closely, I guess.
I have to look at this Cheeto.
Yeah, I'm doing it
bag.
too. Oh yeah, he's definitely skateboarding.
Yeah, 100% skateboarding.
Not on the puffs. On the puffs, he is not.
Yeah, but on like the classic Cheeto bag.
On crunchy Cheetos, he certainly is skateboarding.
So that's the thing. He skateboards, he surfs, he motorcycles, if that's a verb. And then there's one commercial where there's like a train full of Cheetos, and he goes crazy for it, and he ends up running as fast as the train. So he can run pretty fast. I looked up like the average speed of trains, and I estimated like around 60 miles per hour, which matches up with pretty much how fast normal Cheetos can actually run.
Oh, so he's scientifically accurate then.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that one.
And then there was a video game that came out around then in like the early promotion years. It was called Too Cool to Fool. He didn't have that many powers in it. You basically just jump on enemies. He could play guitar. And he did have the run fast thing. For some reason, he had like, there's a sunglasses power up that just made the screen darker. I don't know why. But yeah. And I guess it was successful enough for them to make a sequel, because they made another game after that called Chester Cheetah Wild Wild Quest, which I assume is a Wild West. I didn't actually look it up, but I assume it's a Wild West theme.
Oh, it makes sense.
So that was his like early promotion years, and then he went through a weird phase where he didn't go crazy anymore. He just kept his cool the entire time, but he did really creepy things. Like he tried to basically just tries to persuade people to do bad things.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah. So like there was one where like Felicia Day is in a laundromat, and she's like annoyed at another person in the laundromat. And then Chester Cheetah appears, and he's like, ooh, those are her whites in that dryer. Put the Cheetos in the dryer and ruin her whites. And she does it, and Chester Cheetah's like, yes.
This is what gets me off now between 2006 and 2008.
And he also, like, persuades kids to, like, there's one where he tells the kids to, like, shoot Cheetos at their mom's butt for some reason.
What? Why? Like,
I don't know. It's a really weird commercial, but their mom is like doing exercise in front of the TV, and she's like bending down because that's what the exercise is.
Is Chester Cheetah a sexual deviant?
I mean, it's very possible.
Oh, guys, I forgot I saw them because I think I blanked that out of my memory. But there was definitely there's like a series of like 3 Mr. Peanut commercials where it was like straight up porno music and him like lying on like a red velvet like sheet in front of like a fireplace.
Why?
Okay.
Because apparently you don't have to sell what are you gonna say about peanuts? Like, we sell fucking peanuts.
Well, yeah, they're selling fucking peanuts. That's literally what they're doing.
They're selling fucking peanuts. And there's like a lot of really awkward close-ups of like his like finger running along his shell, and like it actually got a little uncomfortable.
I mean, that's basically this entire phase for Chester Cheetah is uncomfortable. Like, he would call himself Papa Chester.
Oh no.
And there is one where he like convinced a girl to like make pigeons attack another girl. And then at the end of the commercial, he's holding a pigeon and he looks at the pigeon and he says, "Give daddy a kiss."
What?
It's really weird.
How do I get one of these jobs? I want to do this for money for the rest of my life.
You want to do what? Be Chester Cheetah?
Write Chester Cheetah commercials, because apparently it's just, go ahead. Have them.
Yeah. And then I think he's sort of moved out of that phase. His most recent phase, he still keeps his cool, but it's basically like people see the Cheetos as a certain shape and they're like, oh, it looks like this. As an example, oh, this looks like a beluga whale. And he's like, let's go find a beluga whale and see if that's true. And then they like do this whole like travel discovery thing to find a beluga whale.
It's funny you mentioned that, because as I searched up the Cheeto bag, it also brought me a link to eBay, where apparently selling shaped Cheetos is a thing for money.
I can see that.
I am looking at a rare Cheeto, a flaming hot Cheeto in the shape of a toucan. It is selling for $300.
I mean, Cheetos are basically the clouds of food, so...
This one it says it looks like Mufasa. It looks nothing like Mufasa.
That would be impressive if it did look like Mufasa, though.
But they're all like $100 to $200. There's a hot Cheeto in the shape of a Y. It's selling for $200.
On a similar note, apparently last year I was also Googling Cheetos.
Why?
We were talking about Cheetos. I don't know, man. They did an ad campaign called the Win What You See campaign, where you could submit a picture of a Cheeto with what you thought it looked like, and 8 people won prizes inspired by what they saw. The example being, like, if you saw an electric guitar, you could win, like, a guitar and some concert tickets or something.
Oh my god! I have to. I'm saying this to you guys in the chat right now. Even if it gets edited out, I don't even care. There's this ultra rare Charizard Charmander shaped Cheeto Pokemon Cheese Puff, where they say this looks like fucking Charmander. It is selling for $85, and they have helpfully in the second photo colored in where they think the Charmander is.
Okay, that colored in one is the stuff of nightmares. Also, that's just a dinosaur chicken nugget. I'm gonna call it now. That's just a dinosaur chicken nugget. It looks more like Godzilla, actually. I would buy Godzilla. I wouldn't literally buy it.
It looks like a sad Godzilla.
It looks like a sad Godzilla. Yeah, that's very much... This is depressed Godzilla.
Yeah. Like fat, middle-aged, depressed Godzilla.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Do you see the Mario one? It's in my net. Customers who also like this one. A $500 Super Mario looking one.
See, that one actually looks like Mario.
Like a little bit.
What about very rare seahorse one of a kind that just looks like a fucking Cheeto? They're asking for...
Oh, we gotta get out of here, guys. We have a podcast we're doing.
Right. We're doing a podcast right now.
So yeah. So Marcus, you mentioned flaming hot Cheetos, and that brings me to probably Chester Cheetah's most useful power, is that in a few commercials, he eats flaming hot Cheetos, and it gives him the ability to breathe fire for like a split second. But it seemed like it was like 1 breath of fire per Cheeto. That seems like the ratio.
Okay.
And then there was one commercial where he ate a flaming hot Cheeto, and his whole body like sort of, it was sort of unclear, but like he heated up or something, and his feet ended up melting through the ground, and then he like fell to the floor below him. So his whole body heats up and he can breathe fire, I guess.
Interesting.
So probably the main powers that he can use are that he's super fast, or not, like he's 60 miles an hour, which is pretty fast. He can breathe fire. And then the third one, I was saying that he's like really persuasive, because he can convince like a ton of people to do really bad things.
He's basically like the devil on your shoulder.
Yeah, he's kind of the devil. That's a good analogy. He's a fast devil. Ben, what did you do?
So I had the Kool-Aid Man. And before I go on, I want to briefly say that in the interest of research, we actually tweeted at the Twitter accounts for both the Kool-Aid Man and Chester Cheetah and inquired as to whether they were allergic to peanuts.
Yeah, because that was a really important detail for Marcus
Yeah.
and his chances of winning.
Right. Unfortunately, they never got back to us for some reason.
Your tweets you sent out were excellent, though.
Yeah, I was actually really proud of both of them. I'm very sad we didn't get a response, not gonna lie. We'll put up an image of the tweets at some point, so...
Yeah, we'll post those. We'll post those in the Hypotheticals page. So if you want to see the tweet that the corporate beings have seen and deemed unfit for replies, I mean, I guess we only tweeted them like this morning, so we might get one tomorrow.
Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, check us out at Absurd Hypotheticals and see it there. We'll update it if we get a response, which could totally change the standings at the end of this.
Anyway, yes, I had the Kool-Aid Man. You're probably familiar with the Kool-Aid Man. In case you're not, he's basically a 6-foot-tall pitcher of cherry Kool-Aid. Yes, canonically, he is cherry Kool-Aid. That is actually, like, official. Originally, actually...
Is it? Because I was looking at his Twitter, and it was like, hey, what flavor are you? And he said, oh, yeah. But then it was hashtag whatever flavor you want.
We're gonna get to that as well. We're gonna get to that as well. Because I have some information that I found that kind of changes some things from what we were talking about earlier when we were discussing the Kool-Aid Man's viability as a candidate in this fight. But at least originally, he was officially cherry Kool-Aid. Also originally, he was not a 6-foot-tall pitcher. He was just a regular-ass pitcher with a face on it, which is a little less threatening.
So like a 6-inch tall pitcher?
I mean, just like a standard pitcher. It's maybe like 10 inches to a foot. I don't know. How big is a pitcher? Just like a glass pitcher, you know?
A pitcher's like 16 inches, dude.
16?
Not the kind that you like keep
Not like a
Kool-Aid
beer
in.
pitcher. Like the kind of pitcher that he is.
Yeah, the kind you like make lemonade in.
All right, maybe 12.
Yeah, it's like 12. Anyway, he's basically known for running in through brick walls and yelling, oh yeah. That's pretty much all he's known for. So I want to briefly talk about the dimensions of the Kool-Aid Man. I'm going to piggyback off of some very important research done by YouTube personality Vsauce3 in this video, Could Kool-Aid Man Break Through a Wall?
Oh my god, yes.
Which basically he just scaled up a glass pitcher to 6 feet tall. And based off the dimensions of the glass pitcher, the walls of the Kool-Aid Man would be 3.6 inch thick glass. He would weigh 5,800 pounds empty. He would be full of 607.6 gallons of Kool-Aid. And when filled, he would weigh roughly 11,000 pounds, which is approximately the same as an elephant.
Shit.
Whoa.
So he actually, sort of the follow-up question with regards to, can you actually run a Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall, is how strong is glass and is it going to break? And the answer is actually very strong. Glass is actually quite strong. It's just that usually it's pretty thin. But like with regards to glass versus brick, it can withstand 7 times the pressure of brick and takes twice as much energy to break. However, on impact, it probably will start cracking some internally, not like shattering, but just cracking, which will weaken it over time. So it's probably going to be he couldn't run through a bunch of walls without like, I guess he can't even really repair himself because it's just like he's made of glass. I don't know. But now the really important question that's either on your mind and has been this whole time or will be as soon as I ask it, is the Kool-Aid his blood? The internet was actually surprisingly inconclusive on this point.
Wait, the internet inconclusive about a thing?
I know, shocker. I will say in that YouTube video, he did assume that Kool-Aid was his blood, but I think that I have found some pretty compelling evidence that it's not actually his blood. There's a commercial that's basically running through the Kool-Aid Man's like morning routine, and it starts with him in the shower, which is kind of a weird thing to think about. But he gets out.
Or not?
Well, I
Does
mean,
he need to wear clothes?
He was not wearing clothes at any point. He sometimes wears clothes. Sometimes he wears pants and like a jacket, but not a shirt. But then a lot frequently, I say generally, he is fully nude. So I don't know if he just does it to make people more comfortable. I feel like it's hard to find like shirts that fit because he has a handle.
Yeah, I can't even really imagine him like what the shirt would look like right now.
It doesn't really, yeah, I don't like, I think it's like a jacket you can kind of, it's kind of like big man little coat, but it works. But I don't know how a shirt would track. So Anyway, also it would cover his face because it's on his chest, so that'd be weird. But yeah, so he gets out of the shower and he's full of just cold water. And then he opens up a closet that's just full of just different kinds of Kool-Aid. And he pours one into himself. And then, you know those, like, weird 50s exercise machines? There's, like, the belt you stand in and it, like, shakes you.
Yep.
He uses one of those to mix himself up and mix in the Kool-Aid.
So
That's excellent.
This is like him getting dressed every day.
Right. So I feel like with that information, it cannot be his blood, because that strongly implies that when he goes to sleep at night, he is empty.
I feel the same way sometimes, Ben,
Right.
I tell you.
How does he empty himself out?
He just tips himself over. I mean, he frequently sloshes Kool-Aid out while, like, there was a whole ad campaign that was, like, him getting startled by things and, like, spilling juice on kids and then saying, oh yeah, it was actually kind of weird. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those ones kind of aged badly a little bit.
I guess all three of these have a creepy factor to them.
Yeah, that's very true. So we have to make a decision on whether or not the Kool-Aid is his blood. I will point out that if it is his blood, clearly his blood type is oh yeah.
Ben, stop.
I can't.
Stop, Ben. Just get the fuck
this
out
is
of this
my
podcast,
curse.
please. Just take that joke and just, like,
You've given me an audience.
Undo it.
That was a bad mistake.
say this joke backwards. Say that joke backwards 3 times and take it out and just cancel it out of the podcast.
Nope,
and the
can't
universe.
do it. You do edit this, so you have the power to remove this joke.
I edit it.
Oh, right, Chris edits it again. I feel like you're much less likely to remove the joke.
I'm gonna leave it in.
Yes.
I decree.
In the words of a known philosopher, oh yeah. So what are we saying? Are we saying it is his blood or not? Because otherwise he feels pretty OP.
I mean, intuitively, without any information at all, I'd say that it is his blood. But based on that, I think it could go either way.
I would say it's not his blood.
Okay. I had some talk about the effects of blood loss I was going to go into, but if we're going to go that route, I'll just leave those on the way.
Well, what about this? How about this compromise? It's not his blood, but it's his clothes. So if he gets empty, he is now naked and he's embarrassed.
Oh, that's fair. What, does he turn red? Because that's kind of counterintuitive.
No, he doesn't turn red, Ben. Then he would be dressed again.
You're right.
Then he would be invincible.
Okay, that makes sense. I am going to quickly point out, there was a joke I wanted to make regarding the blood loss thing that I'm going to say now because I really liked it. One of the effects of blood loss is that your skin becomes cooler and pale, which I think makes the Kool-Aid more appetizing because it's like a chilled container at that point. So I think that was kind of a selling point for it being his blood, but we won't go down that road. Anyway.
Chris, you can cut that joke out too.
Yeah, that's fair. I can.
Ben, you don't have to say that one also backwards, please.
No, you can
3
cut
times?
that one.
Thank you, like the ritual.
I'm not married to that joke. Let's be honest here.
Ben, I'm ready. I'm burning the candles. Please say it backwards. These are expensive candles.
Why did you?
And I don't even know where to get Eye of Newt. Like, I just found a newt and took its eyes.
That.
The ritual is almost complete, Ben. Ben, the candles.
Dia Luke. Well, shit. No, you have to leave the joke in. Thanks,
The
Marcus.
Kool-Aid Man is gone.
Anyway, I didn't really go too much further into the powers of Kool-Aid Man because he's just an elephant-sized, like, killing machine who runs through brick walls.
Pretty straightforward idea.
It's pretty straightforward, much like the Kool-Aid
Also
Man.
pretty strong contender.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I got.
Okay, so yeah, we have to now the fight.
Okay, so important question. Do Mr. Peanut or Chester Cheetah have anything they can do against the Kool-Aid Man?
I guess the question is, how do you kill the Kool-Aid Man? Like, what's considered
I think you have
killing
to shatter
him?
him.
You have to shatter. Yeah, you have to definitely shatter the Kool-Aid Man. So what I will say is, I have a cane that is metal. That is pretty good against glass. It might take me lots and lots and lots of hits, but if it can hit you a lot of times, I think I could eventually wear down your 3 inches of glass.
I have a counterpoint. When full, he weighs 11,000 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, Kool-Aid
I
Man.
didn't say it was gonna be easy, Ben. I didn't say it was gonna be easy.
Kool-Aid Man is basically just an amped up version of Mr. Peanut.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Peanut has a shell, but Kool-Aid Man has 3 inches of glass.
I will say this, both Chester Cheetah and Mr. Peanut have vehicles. I don't think Kool-Aid Man has a vehicle.
He does not.
So
Oh,
we
yeah.
can get our vehicles. But I agree, Ben, counterpoint, Kool-Aid Man weighs 11,000
Right,
pounds.
that's kinda what
And
I
if you
keep
look at
coming
what
back
happens
to.
to Canadians when they hit a moose, it's not pretty for the vehicle.
What happens if one of us gets, like, inside you?
Oh, this is getting sensual.
I think what Ben does is he jumps on his head and then drowns you.
Oh, that's kind of a one-shot deal, though.
I mean, one way it could go is that you get you scoop up Chester Cheetah, flip on your head, and then Mr. Peanut has however long a cheetah can hold its breath to wear down your glass with his cane.
Okay, I'm gonna run with this jumping inside thing, because I do think I don't know how easy it's gonna be. The Kool-Aid Man cannot jump in a way that will have him land on his head. He is not that maneuverable. He weighs 11,000 pounds. He would have to like tip himself over, and that would definitely spill out Kool-Aid, and therefore he would not. I guess he'd have to like push himself down onto the ground and make himself airtight, and just eventually asphyxiate you that way.
Is there any indication of how fast Mr. Kool-Aid Man is? Or Kool-Aid Man?
So there's not. He is definitely very strong.
He sounds like he's kind of slow, but I guess he has to be going kind of fast to break through a
So
brick wall.
There wasn't a exact speed given in noted YouTube video, but he was saying that with that much mass, pretty much just like a regular running pace would be enough to break through a brick wall. But he definitely always seems pretty unwieldy when he moves around.
Right. So I have maneuverability over you.
Certainly.
But what are you going to do with it?
So how hot does glass have to be to melt?
Very
Pretty
hot.
Because
I think
Chester Cheetah melted through a floor.
regular fire's not going to do it. You need like the smell. I did a glass blowing thing, and the oven was a ridiculous temperature.
Yeah.
Glass blowing temp. The transformation of raw materials into glass takes place at around 1,300 degrees Celsius,
Jesus.
which is 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit. Where is the temperature of their ovens, though? Oh, no, that's just the temperature they work it at. So yeah, 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit, Chris. I don't think fire's that hot. How hot is fire?
Hey Siri, how hot fire?
Half that.
Half that.
So generally, high-rise fires burn at 1,100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So you're immune to fire.
Immune to fire.
Can also put out fire to a certain degree.
I don't know why I'm kicking myself in the nuts, so to speak, again. But one thing I also read when I was looking at the shell strength and the lignin to cellulose ratio I was talking about is that the lignin part is also the part that makes you more flammable. So peanut shells are a good bit more flammable than wood is.
Oh.
So Mr. Peanut really doesn't have a chance at all.
Yeah, he's going to get honey roasted.
I'm trying to think, is there a way for me to use my persuasiveness so that I can like persuade other people to work for me and do bad things to you? Because that's probably the best way for me to win.
Yeah. Maybe if you could convince, like, I'm assuming we're in Central Park, because we're always in Central Park.
Probably.
Can you convince, like, a construction worker to, like, take a jackhammer to the Kool-Aid Man?
He does have a relationship with construction workers. There's that one commercial where he's hanging out with two construction workers in an unfinished house and one of them's dancing to music.
This is true.
How do we damage you? You're so fat and thick. And fireproof, apparently.
Yeah, the Kool-Aid Man is high-key thick.
We'd have to like knock him off a building or something.
Unless we convince him to kick through too many walls.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
that's
could run
your
away
plan.
from you and lure you into walls.
You just lure him through a bunch of walls to the point that he eventually starts shattering. And it's just, can you keep away from the wall bursting up?
I think it'll be pretty easy to keep away from you.
Probably.
God, this is actually a really depressing image of just the Kool-Aid Man like breaking through a wall. Oh yeah, and the next one he's like, oh yeah, and he's like you see the cracks growing each time, but there's like a series of walls in front of him, and he's like breaking through, and he's leaking, and the cracks, and the liquid starts to leak out, and it's just he slowly crumbles into nothing.
Yeah, that is very sad, actually.
But I mean, I don't know how smart Kool-Aid Man is on like, what do you think his SAT score is?
I mean, I will say, he does not always just say, oh yeah. Because there are commercials where he actually just speaks generally as well. He also, important point, that's sort of also, speaking of the it's probably not his blood thing, he did refer to drinking from himself at one point in a commercial, which, if it was his blood, it's pretty fucking hardcore.
What? Like, what did he say? Like,
basically, there's a product that's like one of those things that you squeeze into water to make it flavored, There's a Kool-Aid version of that, and he was making some, and he was talking to someone in the park, and she was like, but you're full of Kool-Aid. And he said, yeah, but people kind of freak out if you drink from your own head, or something like that, which strongly implied that he has done it and people freaked out. reasonably.
Yeah, he like knows it. He's like, yeah, I choose not to use that power.
Right, yeah. I think that is your route, is getting the Kool-Aid Man to run through too many things.
You have to lure him to do something, yeah.
Yeah, but he's not like he's not like Chester Cheetah, who's obsessed. So it's hard to lure him.
Right.
No one knows what brings the Kool-Aid Man through the wall.
So in early commercials, kids would yell, I think it was, "Hey, Kool-Aid," and then he'd burst through the wall and say, "Oh yeah." So maybe there's some kind of like Bloody Mary situation where you like
The ritual is complete.
yeah, like you walk behind a wall and say, "Hey, Kool-Aid," you're just compelled to run through it.
Yeah, and it can be the dulcet tones of Robert Downey Jr. doing it.
If you get hit once though, you are obliterated.
Yeah, I
That
think
is
just flat line before any discussion. It's 80% Kool-Aid Man.
I think that's
Yeah,
probably
it's
accurate,
obviously
yeah.
Kool-Aid Man is the favorite.
Yeah, he's Thanos. He's Juice Thanos.
So now we're talking corner cases. So let's say 15% of the remainder is Chester Cheetah being much faster than the Kool-Aid Man and practiced in convincing people to do things, is able to get Kool-Aid Man to jump through enough walls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, jump through walls or like lure him to like high up in a building and then like push him off the building or something.
Right. So that's definitely 15% Chester Cheetah right there.
What's your 5% for Mr. Peanut?
Yeah,
gonna
how does
be?
Mr.
So my
Peanut
5%
win?
for Mr. Peanut, there's a couple ways that this could happen. One is that in the last wall break, you manage to get your one hit against Chester Cheetah and it's a mutual destruction. That's like a pretty low chance.
That's fair.
The rest of it is if it's just me and Chester Cheetah, there is a slight chance that Chester Cheetah is actually allergic to peanuts after all.
You know, I did look up if cats were allergic to peanuts, and it was a little inconclusive, but they said that peanuts aren't poisonous to them, they just can't digest them.
Well, so I was doing a little bit of the same research, and I read they're basically allergic to peanuts at about the same rate we are. Or no one's done the math, but you know, some cats are allergic to peanuts, and you know, you compare it to humans.
Right.
And humans, about 0.6% of humans are allergic to peanuts. So there's like maybe a 1% chance Chester Cheetah will just be allergic to me. So it's not really a great way out.
Not a great statistic for you.
Wait a minute. This is important. We technically had the ability for a draw in this situation. Hear me out here. So the Kool-Aid Man has been lured into a building by Mr. Peanut. Mr. Peanut tries to do the bait and switch, but doesn't quite get away and is obliterated on impact as the Kool-Aid Man also cracks on impact and falls. Chester Cheetah walks in and is so allergic to peanuts that he goes into anaphylactic shock and dies. There is a
Such a
possibility
tragedy.
for a tragic draw.
Well, it could also be like if Chester Cheetah just tries to eat my outer shell, like he tries to bite his way through it.
Oh yeah,
It's like-
and he hits a lethal blow, but
So the outer peanut shell is technically, even if he's not allergic, it's technically edible, but like can very easily, if you eat too much of it, block up your gastrointestinal tract because you're not very good at digesting cellulose.
I mean, cats can't digest like plant products anyway,
yeah,
or
so,
cheetahs can't. I don't know.
So the fact that you shoot fire is bad for me. But at the same time, I think those flaming hot Cheetos are discontinued.
No, they aren't.
no, they're definitely
Pretty
still
sure they
around.
aren't.
They are certainly still around.
Flamin' hot Cheetos discontinued.
I'm like 99% sure they're still around.
9 discontinued Cheeto snacks.
None of which are flaming hot. Well, shit.
Cheetos X's and O's, cheesy checkers, zigzags, Cheetos Twisted, crunchy nachos, salsa con queso. Oh man, I want those. Oh, it's the flaming hot asteroids that are discontinued that
Yeah.
are making a comeback.
That'll do it.
I have one last trick in my bag against Chester Cheetah. Coming July 2019. So if our fight is scheduled for after July 2019, Planters is bringing back cheese balls, which I admit are not Cheetos, but they're pretty fucking close. And for how crazy Chester Cheetah is for Cheetos, I feel like I could trick him with some cheese balls.
Well, no,
into
that was the thing. He used to be crazy for them, but he's not really anymore. He's cooled down. Now he's just stays cool.
But here's the thing. Cats also love chasing after small balls. So if you throw a Cheetos ball, Chester's going to go after that.
And then whack right in the back of the head with a cane. Whack.
There's a path here. I think it's still a small path, but there is a path here.
Yeah. I think talking about it out, I think it's 80% Kool-Aid Man, 17% Chester Cheetah, 3% Mr. Peanut.
2.99 and the 0.01 is the draw.
He's a tie.
Yep.
And the 0.01% is everyone dies. Excellent. We have come to the conclusion. Let's let the corporate moneybags who won't respond to us know what we have wrought.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to our Would You Rather question of the day. Chris, would you rather be unbearably ugly or unbearably smelly?
So this is a tough choice because I think the word unbearably means that, like, you're so ugly that people can't stand to look at you.
It causes, like, physical pain to see you.
Yeah. Or you're so smelly that, like, people literally can't be around you.
Wait, isn't this a SpongeBob episode?
Is it?
Oh, there's an episode where he eats a whole bunch of onions.
Oh, yeah.
And his breath gets so bad that people, like, smell his breath and are like, ugh!
So
and he thinks he's ugly.
Yeah, so we've already lived through that situation. We know what that would end up like. I think unbearably ugly is better just because it's easier to cover it up.
That's true.
Like, you could wear a mask or something.
Can I actually make another selling point for unbearably ugly?
Sure.
On Halloween, you're set.
Yeah.
Yeah, you win one day of the year.
Also, I think odor is, like, such a primal reaction,
Mm-hmm.
too. So, like, if you smell something that you don't like, then you're just, like, repulsed immediately.
Yeah, so here's my take, and I think it's putting me in the unbearably smelly camp, is you are obviously not super dateable already, but there's the perfect person who's missing one sense so that your terribleness doesn't bother them. So I think I would rather date a girl who couldn't smell over one that couldn't see. Because sight is like, I think it's harder there's more challenges to overcome from sight than from smell.
That's fair.
Plus, I like to play lots of card games and board games and video games, and sight is pretty important for those. I want to share that.
I mean, it's not, the hypothetical isn't if you're blind or not.
Well, but it's the like, the person you're going to end up with
yeah, okay.
will need to be either blind or
There's a word for it. I can't remember what it is.
nose deaf.
Smell.
Agnostic.
Agnostic. I don't partake in any of the schnozzes.
I don't know. I think, like, dating is only one aspect. That's only one person in your life. Like, you're going to interact with so many more people than just that one person.
You can't, like, live in an apartment building if you're unbearably smelly.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you can do some kind of control for, like, if you spray a lot of other odors around.
That doesn't make it necessarily better.
I'm gonna go ugly, I think.
Yeah, I go ugly.
I'm smelly.
I just think smelly is a lot to overcome.
Also, smelly affects a whole area around you. Ugly only affects people looking at you.
Yeah, but they can look at you from further away than they can smell you.
Here's an important question. Can you smell yourself? I would say yes. Because, like, when I
would say yes, but you get used to it.
Yeah, but, like, if I have some stank going, if you can't bear
your own smell, if that's part of it, then yeah, it's ugly. But I think that makes the question.
I don't think that's part
fair.
of it.
Okay, that's a good point.
So we have all decided 2 ugly people and 1 smelly one.
This is fair.
It seems like Marcus tends to disagree with me and Ben a lot on these.
I feel like you guys just look at things wrong. I mean, it's hard being the smartest one, but it is a burden I'm willing to bear for the sake of the podcast. And I'm not being contrarian. I just think you guys are wrong.
I mean, that's
okay.
That's a decent shot of that. Let's be honest here.
But if you, the listener, think I'm wrong, which is ridiculous. If you think they're wrong and you want to let them know you agree with me, hop on to our Facebook page, Absurd Hypotheticals, and either you comment, join us in the chat. You get to see cool things like our tweet that we sent out to the corporations of snacks, and where we shared a lot of other fun stuff on there too. Like, Ben, you posted today, not the date this airs, but today in real life, you posted a conversation where we were planning out something else. What was it? I was complaining about there being no peanut facts around for me to use. Because Google would not tell me the thickness of a peanut shell no matter how much I asked.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do more of that where when we have just dumb conversations in our planning chat, just share those up because I feel like they're fun.
They happen a lot.
Because we're stupid
people. We're
just
discussing the things we're discussing here. So.
I mean, this is a fight episode, so we'll probably have a discussion tomorrow about this.
This is also true, yeah.
Oh, and we're going to have a vote.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we'll have a poll on Hypotheticals. You can vote to see if you agree with us or not.
And this vote is separate from the votes that are going to go onto the Patreon page.
Yeah. Where
if you donate, you get to vote on where the show goes moving forward. Because we're not going to go back and change the results of this fight. It is set in stone. These are the odds. Place your bets now, please.
Yeah, the Patreon votes are like things that influence the show and change the show.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But yeah, that'll do it for this week. So join us next week where we answer the following question. What if you could perfectly train snakes?